Today, we're going to talk about a powerful, kind of radical idea that took a sledgehammer to one of the oldest legal systems in the entire world. It's an idea that really forced people to ask a tough question. How should we make our laws? And, who are they actually for? So let's start with this bombshell of a quote from the philosopher Jeremy Bentham. The common law is a legal fiction. I mean, wow. What does that even mean? How can a system that's been around for centuries be a fiction? To get what he was so fired up about, we first have to understand the system he was trying to tear down.
So first up, what exactly is this common law? Well, for hundreds of years, it was praised as this incredible tradition, something built on generations of wisdom and past decisions.
Okay, so here's the key thing to wrap your head around. In a common law system, the law isn't really written down in one giant rule book that lawmakers vote on. Instead, the law kind of bubbles up from the decisions that judges make in court. Each new case and its ruling gets added to this invisible library of past decisions, creating this huge unwritten set of rules we call precedent.
And you can see why people loved this, right? This idea of it growing organically was a huge selling point. Its supporters saw it as a living, breathing thing. It was flexible, it could adapt to new situations, but it was still connected to all this ancient wisdom. It wasn't designed by some stuffy committee, it just grew. And the idea was that it perfectly reflected what the community truly believed.
But not everyone was buying it. Not everyone saw this organic growth as a good thing. And that's where our main character comes in, Jeremy Bentham, the man who looked at this grand tradition and saw not wisdom, but a total mess, a dangerous illusion.
Jeremy Bentham was a big deal during the Enlightenment, and the whole point of the Enlightenment was using reason and logic to fix things. So Bentham believed that everything, from government to morality, and especially the law, had to be logical and clear. And to him, the common law was the exact opposite of that. He thought it was random, unpredictable, and just fundamentally unfair.
Okay, so that brings us back to that killer quote from the beginning. When Bentham called the common law a legal fiction, what was he really getting at? How was he going to take on this beast of a system that had been around forever?
Well, here's how he laid out his attack. He basically put the two systems side by side to show how different they were. On one side, you've got the common law. It's unwritten, so it's kind of mysterious, and it's retroactive. And that's a huge deal. It means a judge can apply a new rule to something you already did. On the other side was his dream system, statute law. It's written down, it's clear for everyone to read, and it's prospective. It only applies to things you do in the future.
And this is where Bentham's genius really comes through. He used this simple, unforgettable analogy to show just how unfair this whole thing was. He called it dog law. Think about it. You don't give your dog a rule book, right? No. You wait for him to do something you don't like, and then you punish him for it. Bentham said, yep, that's exactly how the common law works for people.
And that right there is the core of his whole argument. It is literally punishment without warning. I mean, just imagine being arrested for breaking a rule that you had no way of knowing existed because a judge basically just invented it. For Bentham, this wasn't just unfair, it was tyranny. It left regular citizens completely at the mercy of a handful of judges.
But here's the thing about Bentham. He wasn't just there to tear things down. He had a plan. He had a vision for a totally different kind of legal system, one built not on old dusty traditions, but on a rational plan for making society better. And his whole plan was built on this one simple but totally revolutionary idea, utilitarianism. The goal of any law, any government action should be super simple, to create the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. That's it. For him, law wasn't about honoring the past. It was a tool for building a happier future.
So, his alternative was this super clear four-step process. It's the complete opposite of the old way. Instead of judges looking backwards at old cases, lawmakers should look forward. Step 1, figure out what laws will do the most good. Step 2, write those laws down in simple, clear language that anyone can understand. Step 3, publish the laws so every single citizen can read them. And Step 4, only enforce those laws for things that happen after they're published. It's a system built from the ground up for clarity, reason, and fairness.
Okay, so this was a huge intellectual battle that happened like 200 years ago. So why should we care about it now? Well, because this wasn't just some dusty old debate. Its outcome is still shaping our world in massive ways.
And you might be thinking, okay, interesting history lesson, but what's that got to do with me? Well, the answer is pretty much everything. The echoes of this fight between Bentham and the common law are all around us today.
The thing is, in a lot of ways, Bentham won. Most countries in the world now have legal systems based on written laws or codes, just like he wanted. And think about the debates we have today. Whenever you hear people arguing about activist judges who are making law from the bench, that is a direct echo of Bentham's critique. The demand for government transparency, for laws to be simple and accessible, that's pure Bentham. He basically framed the fundamental question we still argue about: who should make the law, the people we elect or the judges who are appointed?
And that's the big question Bentham's challenge leaves us with, and is just as relevant now as it was 200 years ago. When laws aren't written down for everyone to see, but instead are discovered by a small group of experts looking at the past, who are those laws really serving? He forced the world to confront that question, and honestly, we're still trying to figure out the answer.